What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Not here for a fun one. I probably won't wait to put this up in the morning. It's probably going to go up a kind of an oddball time. And then maybe tomorrow's video will be a little delayed. This situation was brought to my attention on Twitter and then on Instagram. It appears we have a Marx Cards 2.0 brewing. For those that don't remember, Marx Cards was a very large US-based group submitter that had submitted a bunch of cards to PSA, could not afford to pay for them when the bill came due, turned into a big, huge mess. Card Collector 2 was wrapped up in it. The whole situation was a nightmare. People are still waiting to get their cards back from that, and it's been months that they're still sorting through that. But the guy ran off with the money because people prepaid. PSA bill comes at the end. That's how it used to work. I don't believe it works like that anymore for new group submissions going forward. But long story short, the guy walked off with a ton of money. It appears we have the exact same situation brewing again, this time with a company called Ludkins Collectibles. I'm not familiar with this group submitter. Apparently they had a US branch and a UK branch, and I've actually seen in comments on a video that I did earlier today already that this is affecting, and a video on YouTube, this is affecting both US and the UK side. So what happened? Very similar thing. You could see here, Wade_Zoe on Instagram has this post up, which kind of outlines everything. I will link to this in the description down below, and you can see he even calls it a Marx Cards situation. There's also a very good video about it here. I will also link to this in the description down below from Professor Metri that talked about his experience with the US side of it. Now, he actually got his cards back, but it took forever. Here is another screenshot from Instagram, this time from Fresh Poke Pulls. This is not his screenshot. He declares that in the page, but you can see this is communication with Nat Turner, and Nat was also commenting on this post here, where Nat confirms that they are waiting on payment for a large portion of them. Yes. This person asks, can we just get the cards back directly if we're willing to pay for them to free them up? And it says, Nat says, unfortunately, we do not know whose cards are whose because Ludkins hasn't been willing to give us that information. So once again, very much like Marx Cards, the documentation was not great. So PSA has the cards. The cards are graded. These are from 2020 and 2021 submissions. And they don't know who they go back to. They can't go back to Ludkins at this point because they need to be paid for. And the individual people can't free them from jail because PSA doesn't know whose cards are whose. And Ludkins is not working with them, at least at this time. In another screenshot somewhere in the comments on this post, they do say that they will be, actually it was in this one, they will be making a statement soon about this. So probably like they did similar to the Marx Card situations, they will put out a formal statement. The interesting twist on this one is Ludkins UK had recently rebranded to PSA UK and are the official group submitter, and in fact, still listed up on the PSA website as the official group submitter for the UK. I talked to a few different people, and they said they were recognized, and everyone, PSA would point you to them if you needed to do group submissions from over the pond. You guys might want to update your website and get this pulled off there. Once again, very similar to the Marx Card situation with these certified PSA group submitters being promoted on the website like Marx Cards was. In this case, since it's overseas, it's a little more restrictive. It's not like over here where you have tons of group submitters. They were basically one of the few, so you didn't have a ton of different options. So a lot of cards, I don't know how many cards are caught up in this, but it could be a decent amount. Critical of PSA, when you have these guys on your website, you need to make sure this stuff is locked down and that these guys are in good standing. The flip side of this, and I don't remember what the specifics are. I actually reached out to Nat Turner but I've not heard back yet. It wasn't that long ago, to be fair to him, and he does not follow me on Instagram, so I don't even know if he'll see it. But I believe they have put some safeguards in place going forward since the Marx Cards situation. But this sounds like it was percolating prior to that. So this dates back to the old version of PSA group submission. I believe now group submitters, and someone can correct me in the comments down below, that PSA group submitters have to pay at least half of the fee up front. And I think there's a few other requirements in place now that didn't used to be there. So PSA definitely takes a black eye on this one, 1000% for sure. But on the flip side, I do believe they have made some changes to potentially prevent this from happening going forward, or at least limit it as best as possible. If I do end up hearing back from that, I'll do a quick little update video in regards to that aspect of it. But this sucks, man. This really sucks. Once again, it's a black eye for all group submitters. Personally, I think so. And there's some good ones out there. I talk to Bobbles and Ball Cards regularly. He's not a PSA group submitter, but an SGC and CSG group submitter, and a few other ones. And this just, when one of these companies breaks bad like this, it's a black eye on all of them. And, money, you think back, especially these orders from 2020, 2021, this stuff was flying in. Money was coming in hand over fist. It was like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and coins were just flying out everywhere. It was great. And then all of a sudden someone shut the fountain off and you actually had to know how to run a business. And these things kind of popped up out of nowhere. People didn't have any real business experience or acumen, how to handle this stuff, how to keep track of inventory, books, all that stuff. They were just doing it by the seam of the pants. And this is what happens as a net result of it, is that this whole thing, the house of cards comes tumbling down, if you will. So that's all I have for you right now. I will update this as new information comes out. If another video is warranted, I'll do one. If I hear back from Nat Turner, I will update that as well. Like I said, I specifically asked him not so much about this situation, but just what safeguards do they have in place to prevent this from going forward. And you guys might want to pull them off the PSA website. One other quick thing to note, PSA did basically say all cards from 2020 and 2021 have been long graded. So if you have not gotten cards back through a group submitter from 2020 to 2021, if you're in one of those old orders and it went through a group submitter specifically, you might want to be asking some questions and get an update on why your cards got back. We had a feeling when the Marx Cards situation went down that this would not be the last that we were hearing of it. Hopefully this is the last that we're hearing of it and there's not other situations like this out there. But if you have cards from a 2020 or 2021 order that you're still waiting on that went through a group submitter, you might want to just say, shoot them a little email. Hey, what's going on, guys? Hopefully this all gets worked out. Everyone gets their cards back. No one has to pay any extra money. But I have a feeling it's going to take a bunch of time. It's still taking time with the Marx Cards ones. But hopefully this gets all sorted out for all parties involved. That's all I have for you guys and girls. Like, comment, subscribe. Tomorrow's video will probably be up a little bit later. Peace.